Well, this is the old guy, and I'm going to call this Still River Radio. And this is the Summer Delirium series. And 4th of July is upon us this weekend, and summer is here in full. And I was thinking of a long time ago in Still River. Well, almost everywhere, not just in Still River. There used to be these things called car hops. They were drive-up hot dog and burger joints, and you would drive up and park. There wouldn't be a drive-through like Mickey D's or any of the other places. They were usually family-owned. There's a few around, but they don't do the car hop service anymore, or curb service was another term. And what you would do is you would drive up, they would park the spaces in a line across the front in rows. A&W had little speakers you would talk into, like the kind that you would hang on your window when you went to the drive-in movies, which is another thing that isn't around anymore. And you would blink your lights. That would signal for a waitress to come out. You'll see old videos or retro videos, maybe even on that movie with John Travolta, Grease. That was the era. And they had like the car hop come out in these flouncy little skirts with little waitress hats on. Some of them came out in roller skates and took your order. And well, that was that. And another thing, in the summer where I lived on what you would call the wrong side of the tracks, the poor side of the tracks. And we lived in this sort of apartment complex with a lot of black families. And in the summer, when it was warm, nobody had air conditioning back then. And so people would leave their windows open. And there was an old woman who lived in an apartment across our way, old Miss Tucker. And I would walk out of the house, my fishing rod, and she goes, "Lord, bless you, child. Y'all going fishing now?" I said, "Yes, Miss Tucker. Bring me back some of them nice little sunfish." I said, "Yes, Miss Tucker." And I would go and catch, with some worm or corn, catch a whole little bucket full of sunfish. And I would bring them back an hour later or so. You would smell them frying. And she would have a little plate there for you. God bless Mrs. Tucker. And, well, on Sunday mornings was very interesting in the summer. You would smell in the morning bacon and eggs and strong coffee, and you would hear gospel music being played. And about 9 o'clock or so, the women would come out in these beautifully colored, big, flouncy dresses and the ubiquitous big hats. The big gospel church hat. That was a status symbol. I guess the bigger you had, the more status you had. And long about 12 o'clock or so, they would come back from church all laughing, and the men would have their ties loose and their hats off, and the kids would be running around throwing stuff at each other, laughing and screaming in little dresses and little suits. And they would come back home, and then what you would hear, you would not hear gospel music anymore. You would hear Ray Charles. You would hear blues. You would hear R&B, the Four Tops. And you would smell fried chicken or fried fish. And that was Sunday morning in Still River. And I remember first time when I was a little kid. Neighbors had a TV, and we would go over and watch it. And that's when I first heard rock and roll. And I saw Elvis Presley, and then I saw and heard Chuck Berry. And that was it. He played Johnny B. Good, and Elvis had Hound Dog. And Johnny B. Good won over Hound Dog, hands down. And then I heard Maybelline by Chuck Berry. And there was other interesting music on. There was music for like kids, and then there was this thing that came out called surf music. That was later on in high school. But early on, there was this performer guitar player who had reverb on his guitar. His name was Johnny Horton. And he played these instrumentals. And he played lead guitar for songs like, I don't know who did these songs, but it was like, the Battle of New Orleans, and songs like that, And it was very, very interesting. And once you heard Johnny B. Good and Maybelline by Chuck Berry, that was it. I had to get involved with that somehow. I didn't know how. And we used to caddy. And when we were a little older, about 11 or 12 and 13 or 14. And on these hot summer July days, it would get so humid on some days, rain would just form out of the air. The sun would be shining, it would be 100% humid, and rain would form. And you would see this unusual occurrence once in a blue moon called ball lightning, which I think hit Doc Blansfield out in a golf course once and knocked him down on the green. The ball lightning hit the pole and bounced from the flagpole to his putter, and bounced from his putter all the way across the golf course and disappeared, and he was laying out. He had a penchant for being knocked out on a golf course. He knocked himself out in a sand trap once, and then he covered himself in mud by trying to hit a ball out of a muddy stream another time. He was always half in the bag by the end of the first nine holes. So that's Summer Delirium in Still River.